Television that you as a member make possible. WVIZ, Cleveland, Akron.
Today it's known for record-setting roller coasters. But in earlier times we might have come for a picnic or a day at the beach. In 1995, Cedar Point marks its 125th anniversary, making it the third oldest park existing today. Located in Sandusky, Ohio, it is consistently rated as one of America's top amusement parks. Annual attendance surpasses 3 million in a season lasting only 4 months. Modern Cedar Point has built its reputation on its record-setting 11 roller coasters. More than 6 miles of coaster track wind through, around, and above the park's 364 acres. Each year, rides seem to move quicker, stretch farther, and go higher than ever before, and growing attendance figures attest to the allure of each innovation. When it comes to being entertained, our appetite for the new and improved usually seems stronger than our devotion to the tried and true. But in our hearts and minds, we still manage to keep the old favorites around.
The funnest thing I've ever seen was a sailor with his hat on in there, and his hat was sticking to the wall, and his pants were riding up, and it was just the funniest thing I've ever seen.
They had actual people run with guns towards the train, and we had to shoot them, and we did a pretty good job, I think.
There were no seat belts in those days, and it threw me forward, and the wooden seat was stuck to my pants, and I was able to look down and look at the rails underneath the seat. I didn't ride it too often because it was a wicked ride.
Each generation coming to Cedar Point has had its favorite attractions and challenging rides. And sometimes just the mention of the old names can bring a smile, like the Jumbo Jet, the Bubble Bounce, the Wild Mouse, the Caterpillar, the Yankee Bullet, and the Bug. Yes, the rides have come and gone over the years, but the memories last, maybe even getting a little better with time. And why not? In our memories, there are no lines to stand in. The French fries can't make us any fatter. And best of all, those memories put us back with old friends and family. Because while the rides and attractions have changed, the essence of the Cedar Point experience has not. From the beginning, it has always been an escape from the concerns of everyday life, an escape we've made together. Starting in 1959, Cedar Point came alive once again with innovative sights and sounds. Not since the days of George Beckling had so many new attractions been presented to the public. One of the first additions was a small roller coaster-like ride called the Wild Mouse. This was soon joined by the sleek, futuristic Monorail. The Monorail lasted only a few seasons at Cedar Point, but for a short time it was the most profitable ride on the Midway. The main Midway, with its wide concrete walkways and elaborate floral displays, was a marked contrast to the dirt paths of the old amusement circle. And as if to leave no doubt that times had changed, a massive double Ferris wheel was placed at the front of the Midway.
And it just looked so awesome and mechanical. You just knew you was going to have fun when you got on it. You just had to go again because, boy, that was great.
The double Ferris wheel was soon joined by another ride that would become a trademark at Cedar Point, the Sky Ride. And innocent families would never again have to ride a roller coaster just to see the sights. Starting in the 60s, one impressive sight on the Midway was the annual gathering of high school bands for opening day. The mill race was installed in 1963 and lasted 30 years before being replaced by the Raptor roller coaster. At the time it was built, it was only the second flume ride in the world. 1964 saw the completion of the park's first roller coaster since the cyclone in 1929. Named in honor of Sandusky High School, the Blue Streak was 72 feet high and 2,400 feet long.
Oh, I can still remember the first time I went on. It was the thrill of a lifetime.
George Beckling's lagoons were put to a new use with the introduction of the Western Cruise Riverboat ride. And the Cedar Point and Lake Erie Railroad began carrying its first passengers in 1963. The list of rides and attractions has continued to grow over the last 35 years. Some have come and gone after only a few seasons. Others remain to become the new old favorites, like the Space Spiral, Cedar Downs, and Jungle Larry's Safari Island. In 1968, Frontier Town opened near the site of the old Lake Pier. In addition to its Western theme, it featured a second water ride called Shoot the Rapids.
The first trip in any year to Cedar Point was always to find the new ride, the new attraction. Every year was sort of marked with the new ride, and always when you first went over there, that was the first place you stopped, and then you visited your old favorites.
The Cedar Point that stands today bears little resemblance to the Cedar Point of preceding decades.
Cedar Point Memories, wasn't it a wonderful program? Did you enjoy it? I hope so.